My name is Mrs. Griedebeck.
And do you think kids should focus more on the screens more than their grades?
Like on their devices?
Yes.
I think that students should treat their devices how they would treat them if they were on a job. I think that they should think of school as a job. So when I'm at work, I can't be on my phone, I can't be on Facebook, I can't be texting people, and I think that students should treat school like they would as if they're in a job.
Do you think teachers should control students talking or being disruptive?
I do think that it's a teacher's responsibility to make sure that their class is not disruptive so that people can learn and that they're not distracted as much as they can. But I also think that when there are times when people are working together in groups and things like that where talking should be allowed and that it's okay for students to interact with each other.
Do you think teachers should take stuff away, like cell phones?
I think if it's gotten to the point where it's affecting a student's learning, then yeah, sometimes we have to be the adults and take that away and reduce as many distractions as we can.
Should teachers grade kids on their participation?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think it depends on the class. Like in Brodhead class, I feel like you have to grade on participation because you're, physically involved. I think it helps to grade kids on participation. It helps motivate some kids, but other kids, it doesn't really matter. They're going to just try to learn as much as they can and do as well as they can no matter what. So that's kind of a hard question. I don't know if I have a real yes or no on that.
Teachers cut scores for the students' needs, like shouldn't put in the grade book if they fail a test.
That's a tough one too. I think that if a student is continuously failing a class, that it's kind of the responsibility of the teacher to pull that kid aside or to talk to that kid and find out why, and then try to help that student get whatever skill it is that they need to be able to pass. So if that means that they can build towards passing and not count some of the previous scores where they were failing, then I could see a reason for that. But it just depends on the reason for the failing score, I think.
Do you think students should get more or less help when they need it?
Okay. I think it's the responsibility of the teacher to be available when students need help before and after school or during resource or study hall time. But I also think it's the responsibility of the student to go seek out that help when they need it and not wait for somebody to track them down.
Do you think teachers should teach differently?
Yeah, I think it depends on the class. So science class is going to be taught differently than Brodhead class. I think that not all one way works for every kid. So not every kid is going to learn from sitting at a desk and taking notes. So I think that teachers should and do try to have a variety of different activities for students to learn the material.
Do you think students should focus on school and learn or worry about what their grade is getting in that class?
Ooh, that's a really good question. Ultimately, I think it's most important for people to learn the material and not worry about the grade. So we should be asking students, did they do their best to try to learn the material? And then if they did that and they still got a C or a B or an A, then they should be happy with that. But I also know that there's a lot of pressure to get good grades because of scholarships and college applications. So sometimes even trying your best doesn't mean you're going to have the highest GPA. And I think that everybody kind of has to be okay with who they are and do the best that they can.
Should students choose their class or have it in high school or wait until after college? So should a kid have a class in high school that's like a college level or have it at college?
I think that they should take it when they're ready for it. So some students, if you're like an excellent math student and you've taken the higher level math classes and you're taking like a calculus in high school, then you should definitely earn some credit for that because that's like a college level.
Do you think kids should leave early when it's too hot or too cold outside?
I think it depends. I think that if the building is in absolute like misery, like we don't have adequate heat or adequate air, then yeah, what learning is taking place. But if it's like, oh, it's just a little uncomfortable, suck it up.
Should stress be more on kids?
As far as homework, I think the core classes cover a lot of homework, especially the more advanced students, so they'll have 2 or 3 hours of homework a night, plus sports, plus jobs, plus all the other things. So personally, I don't give out homework because I'm an elective, and I know from past experience that my students won't do my homework because they'll be doing other homework.